Welcome to the Monday Morning Critic. Today we have a segment that we call Breaking Down. It is Breaking Down number 8 with fellow friend and actor Doug Hutchison. Doug, so glad to have you back on the show again.
Derek, it's a pleasure to be back again. I love doing this with you.
Oh, it's one of my favorite types of interviews slash just chilling and shooting the shit with somebody with some research involved. It's an original segment that I just truly love, spending the, hour or less with you or more, but it's a lot of fun. And, I'm psyched about today's topic.
Yeah, me too. It was very challenging.
Yes.
This one.
So
very challenging.
I'm going to let you explain it because you are far more eloquent when you explain things and detail filled. So I'm going to let you explain what today's topic is.
All right, I'll do the best I can. So today's topic is the 5 most underrated actors in our opinions, or actresses in our opinions, and then one wild card underrated actor as well. And the way it will go is as per our usual formula. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 being the most we feel underrated actor of all 5 that we've whittled it down to, and then and those 5, by the way, cannot have been nominated for an Academy Award. That was the only kind of strict rule that you, Derek, kind of threw out there, but anything else goes. And then for the wild card, it can be an actor or actress who has been nominated or won an award, and we still feel that they're underrated. They're not appreciated as much as we feel they should be. Is that a fair? Did I miss anything?
Perfect. You 1 through 5 are actors we feel underrated that have not been nominated for an Academy Award, and then our kind of wild card is maybe one that has been nominated, but we still feel is underrated. Your way of saying it was much more detail filled than mine, which is why you do the talking on that one.
I'll tell you why this one was particularly challenging to me, is because this really bugged me with this one. You and I have talked about these awards in the past, the Academy Awards, the Golden Globes, the whatever awards, but especially the Oscars. We've both articulated how it's often a fix. These awards are pretty much meaningless when it comes down to, because sometimes they ignore amazing films and sometimes they push not so amazing films. We have to remember that the Academy is a group of people. This is not the popular vote. So, and it's always really kind of stuck. It's like a thorn in my side when I see like the categories, like best actor in a drama, and then they have 5 different actors in 5 different, absolutely different movies. Now, how can you possibly compare an apple to an orange to a pear? You can't do it. It's impossible. So what was a little daunting for me is that, and I kind of felt a bit hypocritical, if you will, because I've been very outspoken about the Academy system and how political it is. It's really like you're a politician running for office. You're an actor running for an award. And so in this stipulation that we put on this, which was they can't be nominated 1 through 5 can't be nominated for an Academy Award, I kind of felt like we were falling into that same trap, that Hollywood trap of pretending this illusion that the Oscars mean anything. Because the only thing the Oscars mean for an actor, obviously, is that they're going to get paid more money for their next project. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have, maybe several more options that they didn't have before the Academy Award. But outside of that, I don't really feel in my heart of hearts that the Oscars have anything to do with talent. Sometimes, but not consistently. So that was what I was struggling with this. I gotta confess. I just had to make that blatant confession before we plunged in.
Yeah, and you're right with that. And one of the things that I was really stuck on, and my complete intention was to kind of, because we've both, you and I both have seen a ton of movies, and there's so many actors that we just watch, and it's like they probably should be nominated for much more than or get given recognition, far more than they are, and that was my intention. You're right. The Academy is kind of like, when I watch the Academy Awards, I hope that, like, when I'm cheering for an actor that I like and that doesn't get recognition, finally maybe gets recognition or so forth, gets it. But you're right, though. It's these people watching movies, and there's so many wonderful movies and wonderful actors that are slighted. We're kind of feeding in a little bit, but we're also giving a little bit of sunshine to those actors that probably deserve it more than they're getting, if that makes sense.
All right. Yeah, I accept that. That's a good way of looking at it. It's a good perspective.
So I'm going to tell you, this is how we're going to do it, Doug, and we talked about this off the air. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go wild card. But then I also kind of want to sprinkle in the names of people you had that were maybe in and out of your lists, and hopefully that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. You probably have more than I do. You told me you had like 20 or something the other day or more.
Okay,
You had to whittle it down to 5.
Every day there was a person in my list. The next day they were out. If we did this tomorrow, we'd probably have people in it that should be out. So it's gotten crazy. So I'm gonna let you start with number 5.
All right. My number 5 is Madeline Stowe. Madeline Stowe did movies like Stakeout, 12 Monkeys, Shortcuts, The General's Daughter, Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis. She was born in L.A., but her mother was from a very prominent political family in Costa Rica, apparently. They attempted a 12 Monkeys TV series. I found out in 2016 that I apparently didn't get off the ground. And right before that, Madeline was starring in another television series called Revenge, the ABC series between like 2011 and 2015, in which she did get a Golden Globe nomination for Best Performance by an Actress in a TV Series. But if you wind the clock back a bit, well, she also did, before I get there, she also did, have you seen We Were Soldiers?
Yes.
The movie with,
Mel Gibson, yeah.
Yeah. She plays Mel Gibson's wife in that movie, and it's just such a tender, beautiful performance. And that was gorgeous. It was in 2002, I believe. But if you wind the clock back, the sequel to Chinatown, which was filmed in the mid-70s, I believe, 74-ish, starring Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway, and directed by child molester Roman Polanski. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Madeline was in the sequel to Chinatown called The Two Jakes back in 1990, and she plays this character called Lillian Bodine, and it's this sexy, very sultry character. She plays opposite Jack Nicholson, and she blows Jack off of the screen. There's one scene in particular that is just unbelievably sexy and funny at the same time, where she's basically got Jack like cornered in a room, and she's saying things like, you're gonna make me do it, aren't you? You're gonna make me do it. Don't make me do it. You're gonna make me do it, aren't you? And she's basically pretending to not want his advances. He's not even advancing on her. She's advancing on him. But she's saying these lines as if like, oh no, I'm the damsel in distress. But she's like totally, I mean, she practically rapes Jack Nicholson in this sex scene. And it's hysterical and very sexy and right on target. So there she is starring with Jack Nicholson and holding her own. And she's beating on him in the scene. She's kissing him violently. He's like he's overwhelmed with her passion for wanting to have sex with him. It's just a really wonderful scene. But anyway, Madeline, I've always been a fan of hers. She's like 60 years old now, I think. She's just beautiful. I mean, and she's still obviously extremely talented. So, and that's hard to do. And that's the only reason I bring it up in Hollywood is that, especially for women, well, I would say exclusively for women, as they grow older, the parts get fewer and fewer, Men generally, ripen with age in Hollywood, and women, generally speaking, fall off the vine. So it's just so refreshing to see that she's still working, and I think she's been overlooked over the years. I think she's absolutely been underrated. She's been nominated for a smattering of like film fest awards, and she's won a smattering of indie awards, but never ever been nominated for an Oscar or a Golden Globe or no, I'm sorry, she was nominated for a Golden Globe for her TV series, but I'm talking about film, for her movies. She's never been. She should have been nominated for a bunch of awards for We Were Soldiers.
Oh, for
because
sure.
That was just such a beautiful performance from her.
Yeah.
Just so emotional and so true and so still.
Mel Gibson's an absolute genius, and that's a perfect example. And Stowe's a genius as well. That's just I'm glad you brought that movie up, Doug. That's a great call.
Yeah. And now I guess I am Dee Beater, and she's doing a TV movie now entitled Mixtape. So that's in pre-production. But so anyway, so Stowe is number 5 on my list of underrated actors / actresses.
So my number 5 is one that, we talk about the Academy missing it, and I think they missed it with this guy. His work is not so much an eclectic body. He's known for one primary thing and should have been nominated, and to my knowledge and my investigation was not. And that is actor Mark Hamill, who I absolutely love in the Star Wars, I don't know what you call it at this point. There's been 9 of them.
Franchise?
8. Yeah, and I feel like I don't know. He's gotten a ton of science fiction and other awards, but never a Academy Award for his body of work. And I thought for sure they would have given one this past year. They did not, because I don't know how many more chances Mark's going to have. He is phenomenal as Luke Skywalker. I just how many millions and millions of kids has this guy touched, with this legendary character, and for it not to be even recognized once since 1977, right? I mean, you're looking at 77, then 80 and 83, and then 84, I believe, with the other Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I don't know. He's really pretty damn good in a lot of that, and he has been ignored for a long, long time. And
well, let me ask you this about Mark, because as you know, I'm not like you. I'm not a Star Wars fanatic, but has he done anything outside of the Star Wars franchise
Yeah, he's done a lot of TV spots.
Memorable.
Yeah, he does a lot of voiceover work for animation. I mean, he's really well liked in that regard. No real movies that can that are really well known. Nothing that's over the top. But nothing you've ever heard of. I mean, or I've heard of. But my opinion for what he's just done for the Star Wars universe, absolutely should be nominated, or should have been nominated. I mean, I don't know how he goes this long without catching a nomination. I think it's, for a while there, people don't understand science fiction. Fine, I get it. Maybe it's not cool. But other people have been nominated for much lesser movies in the science fiction, genre. And they don't come any more legendary than Luke Skywalker. And, just watching him in The Last Jedi just brought tears streaming down my face. And it's just, I really was hoping that the Academy was going to give him some sort of, just a nod, and I thought they dropped the ball.
Now, answer me honestly. I mean, I know it might be hard for you to be objective about this because you love the franchise so much, as so many other people do. But were tears running down your eyes because of the nostalgic factor of this story, this epic story that keeps continuing, and these characters that you've become involved with over the years? Or can you actually say it was Mark Hamill's performance that was moving your emotions?
I have to say, that's such a great question, Doug. I think it's both. I mean, I think it's, because I don't want to, the major spoiler. He dies in the Last Jedi, right?
Okay. So
that adds to it. So yeah, it's a great question. It's like, I don't know, like it's all the above. It's check. It's what he's brought on the screen. It's what he's delivered. It's his acting prowess. It's all of it. And he should have been nominated. And what hurts me is, I don't know. I just feel like, part of it is you're watching a character you've loved since you were a child passing on, and I guess, obviously in fictitiously passing on, but I don't know. To cut right to it, I think he's earned it, and they've had many chances.
Have there been any other Star Wars actors outside of Harrison Ford, obviously, who's done a lot of other things, but for example, like Carrie Fisher, has she ever been nominated? Or
I don't know if, I think George Lucas has gotten something. There's a lot of nominations, like John Williams has gotten nominated for his score. There's a lot of nominations like that for the artistic things, I don't know what they call it, but for like.
But I mean the act. I'm talking specifically the actors in Star Wars.
I got to tell you.
I mean, I know like James Earl Jones, right? He plays Darth Vader, right? So yeah, obviously James, I think, has been nominated. But like in the Mark Hamill category, like with Carrie Fisher, and I don't know who else is in it because like I said, I'm not familiar with it. But have any of the other ones been nominated and Mark's been overlooked, or is it like kind of a handful of them?
So I'm looking here. Alec Guinness was nominated in '78. He was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
So there's one. There's a Best Picture. There's a Best Director, George Lucas. Best Writing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they've really kind of ignored the actors with this. Especially Mark Hamill. Carrie Fisher also I would probably put in the same breath, but I don't want to pile on in the same ones. But no, I just feel like they've really they've really ignored not so much this movie. I guess that's a whole conversation for another time. But Mark Hamill has certainly deserved it. It's just I don't know.
Okay.
A lot of people were not happy with The Last Jedi because of the director. He killed off a lot of. The view is that he doesn't understand the Star Wars universe, and I get a little bit of that, but it was still a great movie. And I don't know. I just feel like too good of an actor for too long in this franchise to be ignored.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's
fair enough.
So I'll volley it over to your great questions, by the way, Doug. Jesus Christ, those are great questions.
Well, I have to ask them only because, like I said, I'm just not familiar like you are with the whole franchise, with the sequels, and the stories and everything. But so I was just very curious if it wasn't if it was personal, based on your passion for Star Wars, or was it your passion for Mark Hamill?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to differentiate.
Yeah, great questions. Great questions. And certainly fair. What about you and your number 4?
My number 4 is Christina Ricci.
Oh, she's good.
Christina Ricci, her breakout role was way back in 1997 in Ang Lee's movie The Ice Storm, and that it was a bunch of stars in that movie: Kevin Kline, Joan Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Tobey Maguire, Elijah Wood, and Ricci plays this teenage nymphette who seduces 2 brothers, and she's really good in it. And so that was kind of her breakout. And then, of course, she did the Addams Family stuff, and then Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. She did a movie called Buffalo 66 in '98 with Vincent Gallo. Mm-hmm. And then recently, the Lifetime TV miniseries, the Lizzie Borden Chronicles, where she plays Lizzie Borden. I'm going to skip over Monster, the movie that she did with Charlize Theron, because, Charlize was obviously amazing in the movie, but Christina, I gotta say, and I don't blame her for this, I don't think it was her fault whatsoever, but I think she was just sorely miscast as Theron's lesbian lover in the movie. Just sorely miscast, and I would dare say misdirected. I just don't think it was her fault, because I just think she's an extremely talented actress. She did get a Golden Globe nomination for a movie called The Opposite of Sex back in 1998. It was for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Comedy, or Musical. And then recently she did get a SAG nomination for the Lizzie Borden Chronicles for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a TV movie or miniseries. And then, of course, a smattering of indie noms and wins. But generally speaking, she really hasn't won anything. And I say, you watch. I'm going to make a prediction here, because she's still young enough and talented enough. And I would say keep your eyes on Ricci, because probably in the next decade, somewhere in the next decade, she's going to have her breakout role where she knocks something out of the ballpark. And then all of a sudden, she will be, I think, appreciated far more than I think she is now. So that's my number 4 for underrated actresses is Christina Ricci.
Yeah, I like her a lot. That's a great call. Really good call. My number 4 is also a female actor, and her name is Sienna Miller. I love her in so many things. She absolutely steals your heart in The Lost City of Z. She plays what's his name? The true story about the American sniper. She plays the sniper's wife, an American sniper. She's in so many things. She's in The Lost City of Z, as I mentioned, Mississippi Grind, American Sniper, Foxcatcher. Her work alone in The Lost City of Z deserves it, by itself. And when you see her, like, she of anybody, she's like a chameleon. Like, I know all actors are in roles, but you really have to look twice sometimes, is because she's so good at like hiding what she really looks like to go into that role. You're not sure if it's Sienna Miller, and she's so talented and so gifted. I've always thought this, and then after I saw last year The Lost City of Z, she just completely won me over, and I'm like, how are we not talking about her more? So yeah, my number 4, Doug, is Sienna Miller. You've been
wanting me to see that movie for a while. It's been on my list. I can't. I'm embarrassed to say, but I have such an outdated MacBook Pro that even though I belong to Amazon Prime, where I could get the movie, I can't get it because my laptop won't. It's not updated to the latest Adobe format. And every time I try to update it, I hit roadblocks because my laptop's so archaic. So I've been threatening to take it into Apple to the Genius Bar because they'll update it for free. It's just that my days keep slipping away from me. So I have yet to see The Lost City of Z, but I look forward to it and seeing this actress who you've been touting for quite a while. She sounds fascinating.
Oh, I love her. So
is she doing anything else right now?
She has done so much.
You know of?
She's one of those actors. When you look at her IMDb, it's like she's working. She's always on something. She's always kind of working on a movie here or a show there. She's mostly a movie actress, though. You won't find her much on television, right? So she's,
okay.
Yeah, I'm looking now, and a lot of movies, and she's great, man. She's just, even in the lesser movies, she's just so good. Like, and when you see her in every single movie, she doesn't look the same twice. It's just, it looks like a different person in each movie.
Wow,
I've never seen anything like ever. Like, and when you get a chance, when you see Lost City of Z, you're gonna be like, I get why Derek put her as number 4.
Okay.
So what's your 3?
My number 3 is David Morse.
Good call.
I first saw David on screen in a movie called The Crossing Guard back in 1995 opposite Jack Nicholson, in which David plays this man who I guess killed Jack Nicholson's son by accident, although he was drunk. It was a drunk driving accident, and he went to jail for it. And Jack Nicholson, and now he's getting out, right? At the beginning of the movie, he's getting out of prison. He's spent his time. And Jack Nicholson is intent on seeking revenge. It's a really good movie. And I think it was directed by Sean Penn, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look that up. But anyway, I remember seeing David in that movie. That's the first time I was ever introduced to David Morse. And I was just like, wow, I love this guy. And then, of course, I had the pleasure of working with him in The Green Mile. And I loved him even more after meeting him personally, because he's just such a great guy to boot, as well as a hell of an actor. After Green Mile, he went on to do this really wild, quirky movie called Dancer in the Dark with Bjork in 2000. And then our paths crossed again in the movie Bait that we did with Antoine Fuqua and Jamie Foxx in 2001. David and I didn't have, I don't know if we had any scenes together, actually, to tell you the truth. But we saw a lot of each other because we were both on the set up in Toronto for quite a while. But then you watch him in this movie Disturbia, right?
Oh, yes.
In 2007 as Mr. Turner, that psycho across the street.
Yes.
That's killing people, and the kid, kid sees it, but he can't do anything about it because he's under house arrest. And David just turns, he does a 180 and plays this sick, psycho, scary character. I was extra enamored after seeing him in Disturbia. And then he did this really, I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's called The Boy. Have you seen this?
Hold on. I think I have, yes. Go ahead.
Is it in 2015? A very obscure movie. Not a lot of people know about it, but
it's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's a disturbing movie. And David plays the drunken father of the boy in the movie. And so, I don't know, he's just such a versatile actor. He works all the time. He's a great actor. And hey, guess what? Not one Oscar or Golden Globe nomination in his career to date. And he's been acting for a long time. He's only shared a SAG nomination with the rest of us for outstanding performance by a cast in The Green Mile. We didn't win that year, but we were nominated. And that's really it. He's overlooked, man. He's one of the best actors around. And like I said, extremely versatile. And he's got a stillness to him, too, that I always adore in all of his performances, including Disturbia, the Mr. Turner character. He plays him so still and so creepy.
Yeah, I love cool. Disturbia. And I'm looking at The Boy right now. Lauren Cohen, who's the Walking Dead actor, is in that. Now you have me wanting to see The Boy. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, you got to see The Boy. It is probably one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. Really, there's something about it, man. You just got a pit in your stomach, kind of watching the thing.
And he's such a vital part of as you know, of The Green Mile, where he serves as, I don't want to say the moral compass because that would be wrong, but he serves as the guy that reminds everybody that they have to do their job. Like you have to. Yeah, and even I wonder. Tom Hanks is clearly
Mm-hmm.
moved to coffee, and he clearly loves him, and I think Morse does too in the movie. Brutal. He loves him, but I think you're right. The stillness, the way he approaches the role. Yeah, man, I love that call.
He's very gentle, like in his roles. And that's David too, kind of. I mean, that's part of who he is. But he's just got that gentleness. He's like the uncle that you just love, like you just want to hug. And he's like a big, gentle giant, a big, gentle bear. And sweet man.
So that's. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I love that call. My third, Doug, is a actor named Walton Goggins, and he is in so many things. He's in The Hateful Eight. He's in Predators, Ant-Man. He's in the newest movie coming out with what is it? Angelina Jolie used to play the Tomb Raider movie. He was in a vice prin. I don't know if you have HBO, but if you ever can, vice principals. He plays he can do anything. He can do serious. If you've ever seen him, if you haven't seen him, when you get a chance to Google that name, Walton Goggins, and you'll know who I'm talking about. Of anybody on my list, Walton Goggins. Of anybody on my list that really isn't that well known, he has the most. He will my three are certainly my 1, 2, and 3. I think will all be nominated for an Academy Award within 5 years. He probably has the most chance, I think.
How do you spell his last name?
Goggins.
Okay, cool.
And he's so good.
Yeah, look him up.
Oh, he plays. He can play the ignorant hick. He can play a funny. Oh, he's so good in a plethora of ways. So yeah, man, my number 3 is a man named Walton Goggins.
Goggins.
Oh, I love him. I think he is so good, and he almost looks like one of those character actors that you would have found in a Clint Eastwood movie in the 70s in those spaghetti westerns. Like he's got that old school look. He's funny as hell. He can be serious. I love him. He's really he's past promising. He's clearly established himself as a phenomenal actor. So that's my 3, man. And we got a volley over here too.
I love that you're coming up with like kind of obscure actors. The last 2, Walton Goggins, and then what was her name before
Sienna
that?
Miller.
The actress?
Sienna Miller, yeah.
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 I mean, I love that you're. Yeah, you watch so many more movies than I do, so you're introduced probably to a vast array of actors out there that I'm not even familiar with, but I certainly am looking forward to looking into both of them.
Yes,
I think you have good taste.
I appreciate it. I think you'll like him a lot. So, who is occupying your second slot?
Yes, my number 2. Now, this one was difficult because I had to kind of put my crush on her aside and try to be objective. My number 2 is Monica Bellucci.
Oh, I like her.
I know. My heart.
Yep.
My heart. Stay still, my beating heart. Monica kind of broke onto the scene. She's obviously she's from Italy. She's Italian, but she broke on the scene in a movie called The Apartment in 1996, and that shot her to stardom. She actually won the French equivalent of an Oscar, or I'm sorry, the Italian equivalent of an Oscar in that movie. And or maybe it was French. Maybe she does both languages. I'm not sure. Anyway, she won that equivalent of an Oscar, and that foreign equivalent of an Oscar, either Italian or French, and it shot her kind of into stardom. Of course, most people would know her as Persephone in the Matrix movies, Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions. She was in this really, I kind of enjoyed the movie called Shoot 'Em Up in 2007 with Clive Owen and Paul Giamatti. And then, of course, she plays with such divinity and such grace, Mary Magdalene in Passion of the Christ, in that unbelievably passionate movie. I'm going to say, I'll just use passion again. Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ. She also did a movie back in 2000, an Italian movie directed by Giuseppe Tornatore, sorry, called he directed Cinema Paradiso back in 1988 that got a lot of attention. But she did a movie with him called Milena in 2000. It's an Italian movie, and it takes place amidst World War II. And this teen boy finds himself completely love-stricken by Melina, played by Bellucci. And she's this sensual woman, and she's living in this really like small town, narrow-minded Italian village kind of place. Really good movie. She's so beautifully centered and still and sexy and moving in the movie. But the movie that really, I think, she should have, it should have been, first of all, the movie should have been more popular, but she was amazing in it, is a movie called Irreversible. Have you seen this movie?
I haven't.
Back in 2002. And it basically is about this woman played by Monica who is brutally raped. I'm talking brutally raped in it's like a subway tunnel in Europe somewhere, I believe. And but what's really interesting about the movie is that they move backwards. So it's irreversible. It's like they take you backwards in the movie. It's very interesting. But she's really profound in it. I mean, she's so good. And it's so heartbreaking after that scene, the initial scene where she's attacked. And anyway, I love her. I love her. I would marry her today. And yet she has been overlooked by many, perhaps because of her looks. I don't know why, because she's a really good actress.
She certainly
Not
is.
only is she sexy, but she's talented. And so she's gotten a smattering of foreign awards, like I mentioned, that equivalent of the Oscar. She got like an MTV award for the Matrix stuff, but no Oscar, no Golden Globe, no SAG nominations, nothing to legitimize her as the phenomenal actress that she is. That's my number 2, is Monica Bellucci.
That's a good one. My number 2, I kept looking and looking. I'm like, how does he not have anything? I thought it was an error. I checked websites. I went like crazy. I'm like, how does this man not have a single nomination? He's done these iconic roles. He's done all these awesome movies. He continues to make some fantastic things in the mainstream, and that is Kurt Russell. I'm like, how is he never nominated for anything? I mean, he was so good in Miracle and, the Escape from New York movies and the Hateful Eight. I mean, he is the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, one of my favorite movies of the past year. I love, he's in so many good things, never once nominated. And this adds to your philosophy, Doug, of people that, it's opinions. And I don't know if he made somebody mad along the way. I know he's very popular with, very popular with people in the mainstream. As far as, talk show hosts, they like it. I don't get it. I don't. The fact that he's not, there's one reason I don't have him at 1, but I'm just stunned. I'm just absolutely stunned that he is not, truthfully, never been nominated. And I was stunned when I saw it, and I don't know. He's in so many iconic things. I'm not going to run through all of them, but if you ever get a chance, run through his IMDb. I mean, Dark Blue. I mean, he's in so many good things.
Oh, I know, yeah.
But yeah, he's that is Kurt Russell, and he is one of the more underrated. I mean, when you see him on screen, he's one of those actors that provides an easiness, like you're getting a good performance, right? There's some actors when they come on screen, you're like, oh shit, not this one again. But there's other actors like like Kurt Russell, where when he comes on screen, he provides he's not going to f up the role. He's not going to leave you disappointed. So that's my number 2, Doug.
Wow, that's a really good pick. I'm surprised too. Yep. That he hasn't. He's been around for a long time. And he's one of those actors. I mean, unlike Russell, Jeff Bridges, who's one of my all-time favorites. Just keeps getting better and better with age. As he gets peppered. Peppery. But Kurt Russell's kind of in that similar vein. I'm shocked that he's been overlooked. But yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one.
Yep, that's my dose.
Okay. Well,
number 1.
Drum roll, please, for the number 1. Thank you. Now I need to. That was very dramatic. I need to give this one a precursor. This is self-induced, so I'm not going to blame anyone but the actor who I'm going to mention for his ultimate demise and being completely overlooked and underrated. He's a fellow Detroiter, and his name is Tom Sizemore. Now, where do I begin? Mm-hmm. Back in the day, Tom Sizemore was the shit. I mean, we're talking Heat, Saving Private Ryan, Natural Born Killers, Enemy of the State, Black Hawk Down, True Romance, Wyatt Earp, Devil in a Blue Dress, Strange Days, Pearl Harbor. I mean, this cat was on a roll. And need I say more? He's an exceptional actor. Mm-hmm. So why is he underrated? Why is he overlooked? Well, unfortunately, Sizemore's personal life has been a train wreck of drug addiction and legal problems. So it's like, Tom. I mean, this guy, his struggle with drugs has been, this is well known, so I'm not, saying anything nobody doesn't know, but, or maybe people don't know, I'm not sure, but he has struggled with drugs for the past 30 years. And it appears that Tom's completely flushed his legitimate career down the toilet for the crack pipe. It's crazy. I mean, he did. There's actually a video of him. YouTube it. You can YouTube it. Tom Sizemore crack pipe. He taped himself, or a friend of his taped him smoking crack. And it's crazy. So he, back in 2009, he goes on Dr. Drew's Celebrity Rehab in season number 3. Now, I know why he did that, because I've dabbled in reality TV. He did it for the money. They paid him a buttload of money. He didn't go on that show to get clean. That's all a facade. That's all an illusion. That's all crap. That's Dr. Drew crap. It's all about ratings, and Tom is, he's very watchable. And so he does this. And then right after that, he goes to prison for like some probation violation or something. And he makes a video in there for kids. Kids, this is what happens when you do drugs. Don't do drugs. Blah, 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 blah. So finally, he gets sprung from prison. I don't know how long he spent there. And his addiction it just kind of throws him into a string of B-rate movies, right? For a long time, he just did B-rate after B-rate after B-rate movie, and this guy he's got it, man. He's so compelling when you watch him. He's charismatic and scary and all that good stuff. And so anyway, after the string of B's, he gets a second break, a second chance. God gives him a second chance. And in 2016, he's cast in this meaty recurring role in a USA Network series that's running now called Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. And only to be fired from the role shortly thereafter for running over a crew member with his car. Assumedly intoxicated or something. But during that time, that Shooter time, it seemed like this was Tom's comeback. Like 2016 and 2017 were Tom Sizemore's, it was his comeback chance. He did a recurring on the Twin Peaks series. He did all of these movies, and he was on this, playing this great recurring character on Shooter. So then he gets fired from Shooter. Right after that, he gets arrested for domestic violence and goes to prison. So, I mean, it's both maddening and sorrowful to me at the same time. Because, look, on one hand, I just want to slap him upside his head and say, Tom, stop it. What are you doing? You're extremely talented. Why are you messing this up like this? And then on the other hand, I understand that addiction is a disease. And you wouldn't go up to someone with cancer and slap them in the head. So it's crazy. I'm both like disheartened and heartened by it, because there's so many actors out there that would have loved to have his opportunities, talented actors out there who aren't drug addicts, who wouldn't have effed it up like Tom has. But there you go. I met Tom once because we were both repped by the same manager for a while. And he came into the office while I was having my first sit down with the manager, and he was a mess. He was just this sketchy, kind of just like he'd just come off a night of a crack high with a bunch of whores, and just like sketchy, and he had cuts all over his face from trying to shave. So he had like little bits and pieces of Kleenex all over his face. And my manager was like, Tom, what happened to your face? He's like, man, I was just trying to shave. So anyway, there you go. I could go on and on about Tom, but I just, like I said, it breaks my heart. He did. Well, hold on. Before I leave Tom, he did get a Golden Globe nomination for Best Performance by an Actor in a Mini-Series or Made-for-TV Movie, and that was called Witness Protection back in 1999. He got a SAG nomination for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in Saving Private Ryan, and then, I forgot about this, he got an XRCO Award nomination. Have you ever heard of XRCO?
No.
XRCO is the X-Rated Critics Organization.
Oh, boy.
And Tom got a nomination, an award for Best New Stud. And the reason he got that is he was hurting so badly for money in this is 2004, that he was living with 8 hookers.
Oh, boy.
And he ended up shooting 4 porn flicks with them in 2004. And he created this website like xxtom.com or something, where you could go and pay and watch Tom with these women. and I guess if Tom wanted a career in porn, it could satiate his dark side, because women, money, drugs, and even his name, Tom Sizemore, sounds like a porn star. But I don't know. You see what I mean? I mean, you don't know whether to laugh, cry. It's a tragedy.
It is a tragedy.
Tom Sizemore is one of the most underrated and now, unfortunately, toxic actors in Hollywood. So he's my number one.
Yeah, it's a sad story because he's so good in Heat. He's so good in Saving Private Ryan, and I don't know. Yeah, you're absolutely right with everything you said. I'm not going to repeat it. You're dead on with all of it, and I just think Dr. Drew is just a piece of shit. I'm not a fan of his. I think.
Oh man, I and Courtney went on Dr. Drew at one point in time. He is a piece of shit.
He exploits. He exploits people and their issues, and he's not a good man at all.
No.
But I feel sad for Tom. I think Tom is. I hate to say the word done, but I don't see redemption here, and I like to see redemption in all people. Not redemption like to say sorry for what he's done, but redemption in the sense that for his own life, for himself. But he is such a good actor. I love him, and he's as good as Hanks or anybody. Matt Damon in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my gosh,
he's as good as Pacino.
He was clean on Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
because Spielberg told him.
Yep.
He said, "You come on my set." He said, "I'm going to be randomly drug testing you. You come on my set once, intoxicated or with drugs in your system, I swear to God, I will fire you in an instant, and I don't have any qualms about it. I will reshoot all of your sequences with another actor." So he kept Tom in line. And Tom, you're right. Tom pulls out an amazing performance in that movie. Amazing.
Think about the movies and opportunities he's literally blown over the years. Like he would be an actor we'd be watching in everything today. Like it's sad.
I know.
It's sad. I know. It's very sad.
It is sad.
So my number one.
You're number one.
My number one is an actor that is also very dramatic. I love this actor. He is in Wonder Woman, the Star Trek movies. He was just in A Wrinkle in Time. He steals the show in Wonder Woman. He's in Hell or High Water, which I'm begging you to see.
All right.
His name is Chris Pine, and he is so good. I mean, he's going to win an Academy. He's going to be nominated. There's no question. Like between he and Walton Goggins, they're both going to be nominated, but Chris Pine leads the pack. Once you see Hell or High Water, you're going to be like, I get why Derek put this guy number one.
No, I know. I'm familiar with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Hell or High Water yet, but I will. But good call.
Yeah, his father was an actor in the show Chips, which I love. But yeah, I love Chris Pine. I can't, like, every time, again, one of those actors on screen, I know I'm getting a good performance. I know I'm seeing somebody special. I love it. And he's just such a wonderful actor. So that brings us over to your wild card.
Good call with Chris Pine.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, so the wild card can have been nominated.
Yep.
For an Academy, and she has. Her name is Patricia Clarkson, and I had
damn you
the pleasure of working with Patricia in The Green Mile. Mm-hmm. We didn't have any scenes together, but I had the pleasure of being on the set to watch her, and then of course after the movie came out, to watch her in her amazingly beautiful. I actually use this scene when I'm teaching my acting classes as a pure example of absolute impeccable stillness. But it's the scene in which Melinda, the warden's wife, is stricken with a disease and cancer, whatever it is, and then John Coffey heals her, and it's right after the healing. Mm-hmm. There's this beautiful, tender moment between the two where she gives John her St. Christopher necklace, and she says, "I dreamed of you. We were standing in the dark. I dreamed of you." Mm-hmm. And she it gives me chills just to even think about it. But Patricia Clarkson is just such an amazing actress, and not only in The Green Mile, but she did a recurring on one of my favorite Netflix series that Kevin Spacey blew. Kevin Spacey, doggone you. I loved House of Cards, and I don't know if it's going to be playing anymore, but anyway, she played a recurring on the last season of House of Cards. She's a 2-time Emmy winner for a television show called 6 Feet Under back in the day for Outstanding Guest Actress. She's won 2 SAG Awards for Best Supporting in a movie called Pieces of April and The Station Agent. And if you haven't seen, have you seen Pieces of April?
I haven't.
You got to put that on your list.
Yep.
It's a really, really good movie. And in fact, what's her face? Just had a brain fart. The lead, who's dating Tom Cruise's ex, who's dating Jamie Foxx now. I
know who she is.
Can't believe I can't remember her name. I feel very embarrassed, but it'll come to me. Anyway, it's probably her best performance to date, by the way.
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes, thank you. Probably Katie Holmes' best performance, by the way, in this movie. But anyway, Patricia plays Katie's mother, who's dying of cancer, and it's a funny, quirky, bittersweet one of those movies. And Katie Holmes plays the black sheep of the family, and she ends up having her family come over for Thanksgiving. And Patricia Clarkson just delivers such a poignant performance in that movie. And she also did a movie called Real Girls back in 2003 that she got a lot of attention for. But where I saw her first was back in 1998 in a movie called High Art, opposite Ali Sheedy. And Patricia plays this character by the name of Greta, and she's this like has-been German actress who's addicted to heroin, and she just plays the role so brilliantly. And she's got this. Patricia has this like smoky kind of Demi Moore-ish voice to her, but even more so. It's just this deep, smoky, raspy, kind of sexy, but just, I don't know, it's captivating quality about her. She also did Far From Heaven, opposite Julianne Moore in 2002. But anyway, she is one of my favorite actresses, and I'm thrilled that she got an Oscar nomination for Pieces of April for Best Supporting Actress. She didn't win, but she got nominated, and she should have won, but a nomination is the next best thing, I guess, in that world. And she also got a Golden Globe for the same thing, Best Supporting Actress for Pieces of April, a movie you should put on your list. It's really a beautiful movie. Anyway, that's my wild card.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Patricia Clarkson.
Yeah, I love her. And that scene you talk about in the Green Mile is one of my favorites. And I almost get mad at that scene too, because after all they've seen him do, the warden isn't more proactive in saying, let's keep this guy around a little bit. He just saved my dying wife, whom I love with all my heart, and I understand why, but it's one of the best scenes, not just in the Green Mile. I would argue in any movie in the last 20 to 30 years, it's a phenomenal scene.
I have 8 samples that I share with my class of impeccable stillness in a movie scene. One of them is Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs, but Patricia's is on that list. Her scene in the Green Mile. It's just so beautiful. I get teared up every time I watch it. She's I just looked down at this. She's had 37 nominations for an array of awards in her career and 25 wins.
Wow.
That's not a bad record.
I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. If we're gonna go with the award, thing.
My wild card is an Oscar winner. He's so good. He's he won the Oscar for Traffic. Was in All the Usual Suspects. I love him in Sicario.
Benicio.
Yes, Benicio del Toro is an extremely underrated actor for where he should be seen. In Sicario, he's so good. He plays this hitman. My God, he should have been nominated for that. I remember that fueled me in 2016. That made me furious that he wasn't. He's a badass, but he can be a good guy on screen. He's got a great presence. He's got all those wonderful things that a leading man has. And when he plays a bad guy, he brings with him like Javier Bardem. He brings this like fear factor that you can't put your finger on. Like some guys who play a bad guy go over the top and they're just are a villain there and it's not believable. There's something about Benicio where it's like, okay, you got me. I'm hook, line, and sinker into you as an evil villain. I love him. I think for so many reasons he's underappreciated. He's been nominated twice for an Academy Award, won once. My wild card is Benicio del Toro.
Good call. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that's a good call. I couldn't agree more. And I loved how you described how he portrays protagonists, because you're right. There's something you know what it is? It's unpredictable. It's very seductive and unpredictable.
Yep.
And those two that's a killer combination for playing a bad guy.
Okay. All right. So with our just best of the rest, just we're not going to describe it, but just throw some names of people out there that you really had a tough time leaving off the list, Doug.
Well, I got to say, I didn't have a lot after you. I mean, I had a bunch after you, like not a bunch, but I had maybe 2 or 3.
All right, let's hear them.
I was working on before you announced they can't be nominated, or before I understood that they couldn't be nominated for an Academy Award. But anyway, I'm just going to throw out a couple. Jon Voight.
Oh, so good.
Okay. Now, he was nominated, I can't remember if he won or not, for Midnight Cowboy way back in the day with Dustin Hoffman. But he, and he's done so many movies, and I've got the utmost respect for the man. He's I just don't think he's gotten exactly what he's deserved over the years, despite that Academy win or nom that he got for Midnight Cowboy. I mean, this is a guy who did Deliverance, he did all these amazing movies back in the 70s and
Doug,
80s.
I wonder how much of that is his political stance, because he is a Republican, and he doesn't hide that. I wonder how much of that has to do with it. I truly do.
It's a good point. He's very outspoken about his conservative views, and so it's quite possible. I don't know. All I know is that he really should be. He should be winning he should be up for something every year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He is now on what is the series that he's on right now? It's
Ray Donovan.
Yeah. He's getting a lot of accolades from Ray Donovan. So he has been nominated, and I believe potentially won a few prominent awards for Ray Donovan. But so I don't know. Maybe this is his comeback, But I just feel like he's one of the heavies, John Voight.
We watch Ray Donovan, and he's so
Runaway Train,
He's so good in Ray Donovan. I want to tell you that. We watched Ray Donovan. He is Doug. He is the best character on the show.
Yeah,
he plays this this father who's just a shady guy, and every time his kids kind of write him off or want to get rid of him, he convinces them to bring him. Oh, he's so good in Ray. He's been nominated for an Emmy for that. I know that.
Yeah. And I do believe maybe even more, like a Golden Globe and stuff, because they're doing TV now, stuff like that. And SAG potentially, I'm not sure. But anyway, he's got such grit to him now as he gets older as well. He's just. I love John Voight.
So who else did you leave out? It was John Voight, and who else?
Well, I gotta say, this is just off the cuff because I've only seen him in a couple things because he doesn't really work all that much, I don't think. But it's Vincent Gallo.
Mm.
He's just such an interesting character to me, and anything I've seen him in, like The Brown Bunny, and even though that movie just like ruffled everybody's feathers, and Buffalo 66. He's a good, solid actor. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if it's self-induced or if, again, Hollywood's shunned him for some reason. But he should be working a lot more, and he's definitely underrated in my opinion. So those are my top two. How about you?
Well, I had a couple that I really had a tough time leaving off my list, and how has Jim Carrey never been nominated? How is a guy like Will Ferrell, who's like the king of comedy, never been nominated? The late Alan Rickman, how is he not nominated? And Sacha Baron Cohen and Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead, who he's carried that show, and he's been so good. Another guy just never nominated for an Emmy. And one of my favorites, and Robin Wright. I thought she was nominated for Forrest Gump. Apparently, she wasn't. I can't believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you one that I love a lot, and she was in Sicario with Benicio del Toro. She's in a movie, a horror movie now called It's Where They Can't Make Any Noise.
Oh yeah.
Love.
Talk or don't move.
Don't talk. Yes. Don't. I love Emily Blunt. I love her. Everything.
She's a good actress.
Oh, she's so good. And there's so many. I hope with many of these people it's just a matter of time. But we are sometimes, many times when I watch the Academy Awards, I'm shaking my head as to, like the movie like Three Billboards, which I saw, which was just so horrible. It was so stupid. And it gets all these awards, and Woody Harrelson was good in it. I'll say that, but yeah, those are my people that I had a tough. I was going back and forth with. I love Emily Blunt. I think she's so goddamn good.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I love her too.
That's it for me.
All of the people on your list, I have to agree on.
Yeah, you had a great list too. I mean, and this is such a tough category. I'm looking forward to next week's, in which we talk about maybe the overrated side of things, because I got some names on that one. Believe me,
That should be fun.
I have some names, Doug, that I am ready to let fly. I am.
All right.
Yeah.
I got a handful too. So we'll have a good time.
Yes.
right.
One of which being Meryl Streep, but that's for next week. So you're showing your cards, my friend. Oh, she is so overrated. But that's just a preview. That's what they call in the industry a teaser, right?
Right, a teaser.
Doug, right. I love this episode. Great list, man. You put your time in. I love your breakdowns. You supported it much more than I did with my choices. But yeah, man, great list and awesome takes. And man, what a great breaking down 8.
Yeah, right back at you. I agree. I had a great time, Derek. Thank you. I'll see you next time.